So, I don't stare at the tape recorder now. Look at me, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna talk for a little bit. So, when did you, so you were born in 1878. Let's see. Let me just get this. Sometimes I tell you, it's a hard life. Oh. I was by talking to Miss Stevenson. Do you remember O.B. Garrett at all?
Yeah.
O.B. Garrett.
O.B. Garrett.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know him all my life.
Oh, yeah? He was a photographer, wasn't he?
Yep. Only one that was in Saluda. Yeah, I know that.
Did he, you remember when he opened up his store?
No, I don't remember that.
List of things here. Just going back, where exactly were you born in Saluda?
I was born a mile this side of Saluda.
Mm-hmm. About where?
You know, well, there used to be a mill down there on the creek.
No, I didn't know there used to be a mill down there on the
Yeah,
street.
my daddy used to run a corn mill down there.
Oh, yeah?
Inside,
Is that the same creek that runs through the city?
well,
Runs through the town now?
no, that's the one that goes the other way, I think, going down to Saluda. Well, there's a part of it that comes down this way too,
Mm-hmm.
a small creek.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one that goes down towards Melrose.
Now, tell me about the house you were born in.
Well, I'll tell you, it's just inside of the railroad. Down this side of Saluda, just a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And the house stands over down on the side of the hill. It's a low house now. Up on the side of the hill in the grove of woods.
Mm-hmm. And could you tell me something about the way the house looked, or anything like that?
What?
About how the house looked?
Well, I couldn't tell you hardly now. I guess it's run down, but don't look like it used to.
Well, how did it used to look? What was it like when you were growing up in it?
There's a weatherboard house, a big weatherboard house, 2-story.
It was a 2-story weatherboard? And did y'all heat it with fireplaces and?
Got a fireplace here.
Yeah.
And it's got a date on the chimney when the chimney was built in 1894.
In 1894?
Yeah.
What house were you originally born in?
I was born in the one right below it, an old house. Used to be a log house.
Mm-hmm. Is that the one that belonged to your grandfather?
Yeah.
Cornelius?
No, that's one that belonged to my daddy.
Oh. And your father was, what was your father's name?
My father's name was David. My grandfather's name Cornelius.
Mm-hmm.
One used to live up there in Hendersonville.
Mm-hmm. And that was, so you were born in one of the original houses
Yeah.
in the town. Now, you don't remember the railroad coming through.
No.
No, it was already there.
That was before my time.
Mm-hmm. But do you remember anything about the railroad in particular? As a boy between, by the time, when you were born in 1878,
Yeah.
and, you lived in.
Yeah, I remember the railroad coming to the firewood wood there. It had no cold. About the engine of wood.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about how the trains looked then. Do you remember much about it?
Well, it looked sort of like a toy wagon, doesn't it? A little bitty engine. And big smokestack, something like that, around about that. And I thought that was the biggest thing I ever looked at back in the day.
You're doing okay. Okay, just tell me something though. Did the carriages have open windows or what?
The
The,
what?
the passenger coaches.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you remember what they looked like? Could you
They
describe them
look
for me?
about like they do now, only they were smaller coaches.
Were the windows open?
Oh, yeah.
Did the cinders ever come in?
Yeah, sure did.
Tell me about it. What was
Well,
that like?
you have to keep them. You had your head stuck out, you'd get your eyes full of cinders.
Did they hurt?
You sure did.
And let's see, you worked on the, I'm just gonna set this up too. On that. You worked on the railroad, didn't you, at one point, as a boy, helping lay some of the retying
Yeah,
grade?
down Saluda Mountain.
Tell me about that. How did y'all work with
Well, that's the first work I ever did on the railroad. I had put in timber on the track, you know. There wasn't no rock ballast in it, all champed in out of dirt. The tires, you know. Now they got them on ballast, the rock, you know. They got a big pig. Now, well, they do it with machinery now. But used to, when I worked on the section, when they put the ballast in, it drives under the tires with that pig.
I don't quite understand. Would you explain it again for me? I don't quite catch what you're saying.
Well, the way that you do it now, they put the ballast under the tires.
Ballast?
Rock,
Mm-hmm.
they call it ballast.
Oh, they call it ballast. B-A-L-L-A-S-T?
Yeah.
Okay. But it used to be you have to do it with pick?
Yeah, with the dirt, the shovel dirt. You take a shovel and you drop it under the tires that way.
Is that fun?
Yeah.
It was.
It was hard work,
It was hard?
you know.
Did you ever have to replace any of the cross ties?
Oh, yeah. That's what, every once in a while you have to put in new timber.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you get the timber?
Well, the people all over the country got our tires, you know, from the railroad. They used to get a pile of tires out of our season, and then there's over stacks of them, you know, 8 foot long. And there's, I guess, about, that's like they are now, tires, regular tires.
Mm-hmm. Do they still hew the wood right on the mountain?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see them hewing the wood? Making the
yeah.
cross tie?
I won't get them out.
Oh, you did? Well, tell me about exactly how it was done.
Well, you go in the woods and you see how all of them the straight, long sapling, say big enough for a tire. They cut it down then and you take up what you used to call a broad axe and hew them smooth, you know, so when the inspector comes out, he inspected them and they didn't look right, but he'd cross them out, put them to seal them.
Do you think that's why they call them cross ties?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yes, sir.
And then how did you get them down to where you were doing the road?
Oh, we had to haul them in, you know, the oxen.
Mm-hmm. Did you just drag them along behind with chains?
Yeah.
You didn't put them on wagons?
Sometimes you put them on the wagon, but it takes 2 or 3 to lift on them, you know.
There weren't any roads back in there, were there?
And that,
Were there any roads back in there?
well, not no good roads, just roads enough that you could get a wagon through.
Well, you could get a wagon.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, did they get the wood from as close as they could to where y'all are doing the work, or did they have a special area they would cut?
Well, they cut them in different places, hauling them down to the railroad track. And I mean, the road, where main road comes down, they have big piles of tires. See, they'd over a quarter of an acre of ground, just piles of them. And when they need them, well, they'd go there and get them, put them on the track.
Well, tell me though, I was trying to find out once before, how did they build the roadbed for a track? Do you know how they did that?
I don't know how they did that.
You don't know what layers?
No, that's a big problem right there.
I was just curious, maybe you heard something.
But I imagine that they're just like would build a road today that is cleaned out and smoothed over.
Did you hear any of the men talk about building to the big cut or anything like that?
No.
Yeah, let me think. Getting back to Saluda, would you describe what the town looked like? Because about when do you really remember the way Saluda looked? About how old were you? About the earliest you can remember about Saluda.
Oh, back when I was 8 or 10 years old.
And that'd be about 1885 or so?
My mother used to have a dairy down on the creek. She milked several cattle, and I was a boy I told her to milk up to Saludy. She finds Saludy most of them boarding houses with milk, especially in the summertime when the summer people were there.
How much did you charge for
20 cents a gallon.
That's a good freshman.
Sold butter for 20 cents a pound.
Butter? 20 cents a pound?
And chickens, they didn't sell them by the pound, they sold them for 10 cents a piece. Big fries. Wasn't down to a pound to so much a chicken.
It was 10 cents. That's called inflation.
Some difference in that.
Yeah, it's true. Do you remember any old landmarks around Saluda? What were the most important buildings and people you knew, things of that sort? Think of anything like that?
Well, there used to be, I used to know several people, old people. Some Johnsons and Thompsons. And, well, I can't remember now. Oh.
You remember Andrew Tanner, don't you?
Who?
Andrew Tanner, Carl Tanner?
Yeah, Tanner? Oh, yeah. He lived in a big wooden house there.
What was the hotel?
They called it the Tanner Hotel.
They did?
Yeah.
And is that what the local people call it? Tanner Hotel?
Yeah. You know, the Bowling Alley place I was telling you about, old man Tanner built that.
Well, just for the purposes of the interview, would you tell me about that again?
What?
About the bowling alley?
Well, I told you about all I knew about it a while back.
Oh, I know, but could you tell me again?
Yeah.
I mean, I got it all down. But,
Yeah.
just for the purposes of this interview.
I used to sell pens, in there. And me and a fellow, Jim Heatherly, he used to be operator of that Saluda railroad. And I remember one day when they rolled the balls down, I had a truck going back, and he slammed down that way and rolled back till we get it to roll the pins in. And as Jim was reaching down to get the ball to pull it back up the truck, this rolling went up hit him. I didn't know. And them women come down there. Says, Jimmy, you hurt? Says, where it hit you? Jim says, right there. Suck him back. I had a big bag out there.
He reached for his side.
Yeah.
So-
You know.
Oh. Well, I can pretty much gather what I need from when I talked to you before about general specifics of it. But let's see. Now did you ever remember a movie house in Saluda at all? That they had in a tent, perhaps?
What was the name?
Did they ever show movies in Saluda when you were growing up?
No.
Didn't ever have movies
No.
there. Well, tell me something. Tell me about Colonel Tanner. What do you know about Colonel Tanner? What did he look like? I mean, what kind of man was he?
Well, he was a great big tall fella. He wore whiskers, big white beard he had. I remember just as well. Handsome looking man.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of personality? What kind of personality?
He was a nice fellow.
Was he hard to get along with?
Now, I don't know about that.
Was he a hard taskmaster when you worked for him?
I never worked for him.
Oh, I thought you worked for him when you worked in the bowling alley.
Oh no, he just had that rented. He built it, but he didn't come around there. He just had it built for the tourists, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, who owned it?
He owned it.
But who ran it?
Well, I don't know who had rented it. Anybody that wanted to go there and go while they could had the right to go there, you know. It was free for them to go there and room.
If a person had a room at the hotel, they could go bowl for free?
Yeah.
Well, but if they didn't have a room in the hotel, what do they pay?
No. So that's about all I know about the bowling.
Now, wait a minute, I'm confused. Last time we talked, I thought you said that people would pay, I think it was 20 cents a game or something?
10 cents a game.
10 cents a game.
That's what they paid for 10 cents a game.
Mm-hmm. But these were just people who were staying at the hotel?
Yeah.
Not anybody else, just the
No,
people at the hotel?
Just summer tourist day.
Now let's see. Tell me about the old depot. Do you remember much about the old depot?
Oh yeah. It used to stand right there. That's up the hill, then. Is there a good little guardhouse still out there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's right close there,
Mm-hmm.
on top of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Right where it turns down green, go down through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right across from the wards.
Yeah, that's it.
And you remember it as being very busy?
Remember what?
How busy was it when you were a child?
There wasn't much going on there. Wasn't 2 or 3 little stores there, you know. Had a drugstore there for a while. And one doctor, Dr. Gillette, was the first doctor that was on there.
Mm-hmm. What was he like? Do you remember him?
Yeah,
Tell me about it.
he was a right looking fellow. He's from New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I think he died there, I know he did.
He died in 1908.
Yeah,
I said, I think he died in 1908.
yeah, he died at Saludy, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think.
He sure did. You remember what he looked like at all?
No, I don't remember now. That's been a long time ago. See, I've been left down there close to 80 years. And I've nearly forgot all about it.
Well, don't forget too soon. Oh, well, let's see. Now, what do you remember Saluda looking like about the time? Let's see. Saluda was incorporated when you were about 9 years old.
I don't know when it was.
Now, did you ever remember your parents telling you about whiskey disturbances of any kind?
What?
Whiskey disturbances? They used to sell liquor at the depot in Saluda.
Used to sell liquor. Yeah, I remember when at a bar on that.
Tell me about that bar. What did it look like?
Well, it's just a little bumped up building.
Was it in the building?
Yeah, in the building.
Just a little room?
Yeah,
Did you ever go in there?
yeah, I've been there.
And just could you briefly describe it since no one else has ever seen it? You're the only person still around who's ever seen the building. Seen
I
it.
did.
I said you're the only one left who's ever seen it. Could you tell me what it looked like?
I just don't remember.
Did it have a bar?
Yeah,
Was it a fancy bar or a very plain bar?
it's just a plain little place.
Just very plain.
Yeah.
Did it have a mirror?
And what?
A mirror behind the bar?
No.
No. Just curious. How did you get to it?
It was like how to get to it. It's out on Main Street there.
I mean, if you walked into the front door of the
Yeah,
depot,
walking out in the front door, it seemed walking out in the yard there.
I was just wondering how it was, where it was situated in the little depot. Like,
Yeah.
was it just?
It was up this way from the depot. You know where that overpass is there? Is just a little below down to that. On the side of the street. Road comes up the railroad track, you know. And it is right down there. Actually going up that overpass. It's right down there. Pretty close to that, you know where the Baptist church is there? It's down below that a little way.
Oh, so it wasn't in the depot itself.
No.
Oh, it was a little down the road,
Oh yeah,
close to where the new depot.
that's right.
Oh, just on the other side of the overpass from Main Street.
Yeah.
Oh. Gee, nice. See, I didn't know that. Oh, was it a clapboard building? Just a little
Yeah,
wooden frame?
yeah. I remember work on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know his first name?
No, I don't.
His name is Wolf.
Yeah.
I think that's spelled W-O-L-F-F-E.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's any relation to Wolf's Plum.
I don't know.
You don't know? Just curious. Was there a lot of drinking going on in Saluda at that time?
Not so very much. You know, back then they made liquor. Had the government distilleries. They had one there out in Saluda a little ways, and they had one there about half a mile out from where I was raised.
A government distillery?
Yeah, government. Run by the government.
Kind of a still?
Yeah.
And it's just that they were talking about when they were incorporating the town, there were whiskey disturbances. You don't remember anything really riotous about early Saluda?
No, I don't.
It's pretty quiet as far as you can. Let's see. Remember Daddy Hart?
I sure do.
Tell me about Daddy Hart.
Well, he was a mighty fine man. He run the store there for years and years. I went there one time, I remember when I took milk from my mother. I went there and the snow was about that deep.
About a foot.
Yeah, a foot deep. And my daddy traded with him all the time, run the account with him. And I got it in my head I needed a pair of boots. So I went to a man right there that morning, got me a pair of boots on my daddy's that credit. And I put them on, and I guess I was about 3 hours walking home. Slipped up into that I went all over the ground. And I went out rabbit hunting that evening. And when I did pull them off that night, it took me and my two brothers and my mother to get them off my feet. They just clenched some feet. They're too small for me anyway. The boys there drove on my feet. Yeah, my heart was a fine man.
Whatever happened to those boots? What happened to the boots?
I threw them away.
You threw them
I never could wear them anymore.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
What was he like? Daddy Hart. What was he like?
He was a small fella. He wore a great long mustache. And he was a mighty fine man.
You used to be a mortician too, wasn't
Yeah.
he? The stores in Saluda, in early Saluda, what were they generally like? What kind of things do they generally sell?
Well, they wasn't in the brick buildings at all when I was a boy. All wood buildings.
Yeah. And what kind of things do they sell in the buildings?
I mean,
What kind of things do they sell at the different stores? Are they
they
all pretty
sold-
much the same?
They're all kind of merchandise.
Do you remember? Any particular stores?
Yeah, well, the old man Hart had a store there, and Satan and Robinson used to have a store there. And then a fellow named Thorne had a store there.
Yeah, that'd be Thorn and Boone.
Yeah, that's right. Thorne and Boone was in together.
Yeah. And didn't Morris and
Lillie Morris,
Dylan Morris?
yeah, he owned a store there, right across. Well, I tell you, where the post office used to be there, you know.
Wow.
But Tanner was the postmaster at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And Morris had a store there, merchandise.
Mm-hmm. And whatever happened to all these old buildings?
Was that?
What happened to all these old buildings?
Well, they just fell down and they brought it down. Maybe tore some of them down.
Yeah.
Most of the buildings are now is brick, ain't
Yes, sir. And mostly brick.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take a couple of pictures while we were at
they?
it. What do the streets look like?
Oh, they're just like a little road out somewhere. They look like a street.
Hmm?
Just a walkway and place for wagons to go. Wasn't no cars in there. Wagons altogether.
What do they do with their horses? Do they have hitching posts and things of that sort?
Yeah, they had hitching posts.
What do the hitching posts look like?
Well, they had, most of they used to be a big living stable there. And they kept the horses in there.
Where was the livery stable?
It used to be right pretty close to where Ward's store is now. Used to be a big store, big stable there for horses.
Well, where exactly was that? Where who used to be?
Right close to where Ward's store is now.
This has been a very good interview. Were there any other things that were very scarce back then that were pretty plentiful now? Like salt today is,
Yeah, plenty of salt now.
I mean, there's just no problem
Yeah.
with salt. Is there anything else that,
Well, you couldn't hardly get a hold of, there wasn't any candy, you couldn't get no candy.
you couldn't get any candy?
Just the little 6 peppermint candy, was only the candy was made there.
Where'd you get it?
In the stores kept it.
And anything else that was you remember that you liked that you just didn't have that
The
much of?
coffee was pretty hard to get.
Coffee?
Yeah.
How much your coffee cost then? Do you know?
30 cents a pound.
30 cents a pound.
Yeah.
Was that expensive then?
Yeah, that was a regular price. 30 cents a pound.
Yeah. Oh, it's hard for me to think about how much money that would be today. But back then, was that a lot of money to ask for a pound of coffee?
Yeah. Well, my mother had to sold her eggs, took and swap it for coke. I know you used to have a coke, they called Arbuckle. And my mother, she was starting off to the store with a bucket of eggs to get her some coffee. And she hollered out, she said, now, you'll be sure and get that Arbuckle coffee. That was a certain kind of coffee.
Are you saying Harbuckle?
Yeah,
Harbu?
Arbuckle.
Arbu.
Yeah,
Arbuckle. Arbuckle coffee.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
yeah, that used to be the main coffee, best quality.
And what else?
You couldn't get your ground coffee then. You had coffee mills at home. You ground it yourself.
Oh, do y'all have your own coffee mill
Yeah.
there?
Oh yeah.
And so you just bought the coffee then?
You bought the coffee and done it on grinding.
Did you drink coffee as a little boy?
Yeah. I used to lay in bed till I heard my mother grind coffee. Then I'd get up. I know breakfast is about ready.
You weren't about to get up before you heard that coffee.
That's right.
And how did they make coffee then? You didn't have percolators or anything, did you?
They boiled it in a pot. Regular coffee pot, just wouldn't fit a plum full, and then put it on the stove and then boil it. Then percolate it, boil.
You just boiled it and that's Texas stuff. Yeah.
I remember one time my brother used to cook on the fireplace a whole lot. And I remember the first stove my daddy ever had, cook stove. My brother cook on the fireplace. And then back over there was a chimney fireplace. And my daddy had a big fire in the fireplace. And me and my 2 brothers was sitting back over this way. And my mother was cooking on the stove too. And she was frying meat I had a big pan full of ham frying meat. And me and my 2 brothers were playing with the kitten, the little kitten out. And you know that the kitten jumped from our hands up on top of that red hot stove and jumped from the stove up in the pan of meat and it's jumping there into the fireplace, in that fireplace there. And it just cooked it. And it just cooked it in a few minutes.
You cooked the cat?
Yeah. I never will forget.
That's terrible. And just looking back though, just to kind of wrap up the whole thing. Just looking back, just imagining what Saluda looked like back in the 1880s. What were the buildings far apart, pretty much?
Oh yeah. You could hardly see a building. You could drive for a mile or 2, never see a building.
Mm-hmm. And then Saluda itself, the Main Street area,
Yeah.
were the buildings all clumped together, or were they kind of scattered
They're
along the
scattered
street?
around.
They were just scattered around?
Yeah.
All wooden?
Sure was.
All wooden. Did they, let's see, now Dilly Morris's had a porch that ran around, right? You told me that last time. Dilly Morris had a porch that, or at least part of it was porch.
Yeah.
But you had to walk around the porch to the post office.
Yeah. And walk around where the door was.
Right. Now the other buildings in town, though, they didn't have porches.
No.
They just had flat fronts.
Yeah.
You just walked right up from the street.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to suppose that you had to get across the creek somehow.
Yeah.
And
These places where they didn't have a bridge, they had a foot log. It was called a foot log. You walk across. Foot log, we call
mhm. So you just walked across the
it.
foot.
Yeah.
And you did most of your shopping at Daddy Hart's?
Yeah. Yeah. Most. That's where my daddy done most of the trading.
That's because you're on credit.
Yeah. You could go there, get things any time on time. You could credit you and wait on you till you could pay it.
And do you remember when the tourists just first started coming in?
No, I can't remember.
Were they always there from when you can remember?
Yeah.
How did the town differ from the winter, let's say, to the summer?
How to do what?
How did it differ? How was it different?
Well,
I mean, when the tourists were there, what was different about the place?
well, there's just more people there. More people.
Was it more bustling, more things going on? Did the tourists do anything in particular?
There wasn't much going on. Most of what they come here for is just to get out of the heat down in South Carolina. Run away from hot weather. Stayed up here and got cooler, then they went back.
Sounds like a real wild time, huh? Well, tell me, why did you move out of Saluda? Why did you finally move? In 1900?
Why did I move?
Yeah.
Well, my brother was up here. He was section master on Hendersonville section. And he come down there one day and wanted me to come up here and work with him. Said he'd give me a job on the section with him. So I told him I'd come. That's how I come in.
But you did go back to Saluda a few times.
Yeah.
But other than the fact that the place is now brick and the roads are paved, Saluda hadn't changed all that much, has it?
And
Saluda hadn't changed that much since when you can remember it.
well, it didn't change very much. The only thing is they got better buildings down in Houston.
Let's see. I got you here. What was that guardhouse for up there?
Now that,
Yeah, what was that guardhouse for? I've seen it, but I never knew what it was for.
what house is
It's a
that?
little guardhouse up there where
Oh,
my
that's where they
76.
put people in got drunk.
I beg your pardon?
But when people come and got drunk and couldn't do it, they lock them up in there, you know, till they're sobered up, and then they take them out and try them and put a fine on them.
In that little building up there?
Yeah.
That little bitty,
That's where they locked them up at.
they locked the drunks up there?
Yeah,
The people who were drinking down at the saloon?
yeah.
No, wait a minute. The jail, though, was down at the other end of town, wasn't it?
There was a little jail there. Just what they call a calaboose.
Yeah.
I reckon it's still standing
Yeah, I guess it is. We're talking about the same building.
there.
This is little bitty building up
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
a little bitty bit.
little bitty thing. About couldn't be much bigger
I know.
than this.
Look, to put 2 or 3 men in, maybe one.
Is that what that building
Yeah,
is?
that's what it's for. They call it the calaboose.
Hmm. Now I thought that the jail was over by the deep end.
No, there wasn't no jail there.
Not when you were growing up. Well, when you were growing up, that little bitty building up there
Yeah,
was where they put people who were breaking the law.
yeah.
Ah, that's what it's for. I've always wondered what that building was.
That's what it's for. Everybody breaking the law, they take them there, lock them up.
Mm-hmm. I guess that'll just about do it. Unless you have any other stories you want to tell me while I'm packing up.
Yeah, I've told you about all of them.
About everything you know?
Yeah. I forgot half of those.
Oh, I certainly do appreciate you talking.
That's all right.
I'll try to get some of those articles
Are
together.
you still in Columbus?
Yes, sir.
I see.
And you still only done in Columbus West?
Yeah, I was there one time. I told you about that, didn't
Yeah, that's when you went down to,
I? Get my license in May.
you picked up your wife in Norris on
Yeah,
the way?
yeah. That was in 1899.
Oh, so you were living in Saluda then?
Yeah, yeah, I was living
Oh, that's right. Well, tell me about that again once time. Just once. What was her name?
there. Lillie Rhodes.
Lillie Rhodes?
My wife's name, yeah.
And she lived in,
She lived right close to Melrose.
mm-hmm. And you walked down the grade to Melrose and then that went away and it rained.
Boy, the muddiest road I ever traveled. It doesn't rain, you know, and it's muddy, I mean,
Were any of the roads around there in good condition
you know.
when you were growing up? 1889.
Yep. Yeah, it's in January.
And you made another
I
big
mean,
walk, didn't you?
I said 89, 98 was
1898.
yeah.
How did you meet her? I mean, she lived down in Melrose and you lived in Saluda.
Well, I just happened to see her and got to like the looks of her, you know.
Where did you see her? In store? In town?
She went to church, I think.
Oh, she went to church?
Yeah.
You seem so natural. Everyone around town calls you Uncle Joe. They say, who are you going to visit? I say, Joe Pace. Oh, Uncle Joe. So it was Manswagoner who had the livery
Yeah.
place.
He kept riding horses for summer people, you know.
And we did?
Yeah.
Is that what he, made most of his money off summer people?
Yeah, that's what they made his money. He used to have a lot of summer people come down the show.
Did your family keep their horse there?
Hmm?
Did your family keep their horse there?
Yeah.
They did? Oh, just gonna shoot the pictures while we're talking. Tell me about Isaac. Isaac the barber.
Oh, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go to there.
This is father. Tell me about Isaac. Tell me just generally about him.
Oh, you mean?
What can you remember about Isaac?
No, I remember I just seen him go out.
What do you look like?
He was a kind of tall fellow. Young chocolate.
So?
Young chocolate.
Does his father?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, just go ahead and just keep talking about Isaac.
I don't know if we find
You
it.
don't remember right there now?
Just to see it.
Well, how about Wolf Hall?
Really, yeah, I know, he was a barber there. He was a one-legged fellow.
And, you know how he lost his leg?
Huh?
You know how he lost his leg?
I think he got killed off working on the bridge game. The railroad.
Oh, how's that?
He was, but I understand he was from Wayne, Georgia, and he never fell in the way he got his leg. I don't know exactly.
And did you, who cut your hair when you
Just anybody get chatted. I never had a barber on my
didn't
head.
go to the bar?
No.
You didn't? I was just kidding. Where'd y'all get y'all food? Did y'all,
Okay.
where'd y'all get y'all food? Did y'all grow it on yourself?
Yeah, we grew it. And we used to take milk with eggs and swap it for coffee at the store.
Sir?
Swap it for coffee and sugar. Wasn't no money in circulation.
Oh, what?
So we had to trade around whatever you had to sell.
Oh. You just bartered it away?
Huh?
You just bartered it?
Yeah.
Is that the way your family got most of the divisions?
Yeah, that's the way.
I know. That should be pictures for a minute. Tell me about the people of the area. What kind of people live in the area now?
Most of them are good people.
Did you know them very well?
Oh, yeah, I know more of them.
Tell me about it. Some of the people who live there.
Well, there's a family of Levises.
Of who?
Levises. They live just south of where I was raised. And there's a family of Foresters, family of Dalton, family of Wagners, that's my slave, and the Thompsons, several families of Thompsons. Used to be down at Saluda, if you met somebody, call him by his name, they'd say, "Hello, Mr. Thompson." And he wasn't Thompson, it was Pace. And many of them, they all, that's the way it went.
Oh, and they all lived there pretty much before the railroad, do you know? Or
Oh,
they-
yeah.
They just live all scattered around
Yeah.
then. And, let's see, I'm trying to think of some more people from early Saluda I could ask you about. Were there any other people in early Saluda you remember, Gary? Any of the first,
Oh, I knew the other people down there. Can't remember the names now. That's where I was raised, I know everybody down in the country.
when did you leave for?
I left there in 1900. I moved up here in December 1900.
And how old were you then?
I was around 20 years old.
Well, when you lived in Saluda for your entire life, really, for the point you're 20, it's your entire childhood. Didn't leave there. Just generally, how did Saluda change over the years when you were growing up?
There wasn't much change to it. It never has been very much. I guess the best people are now than there was back, say, 20 years ago.
You're destroying my illusions. Did
You know, when they done away with that helper there, that helped change up the mountain, it cut off a lot of people who lived there. I guess 25 or 30 families had to leave there then.
But at the time you were living there and growing up in Saluda,
Oh, yeah.
there were a lot of families who
Oh,
lived
yeah,
there.
Yeah,
Was that the main source of resident families?
yeah.
It was. Tell me about the people who would come work on there. Did they stay there for long, or did they come and go?
They usually stayed most of the summer. There was no cars then, you know, and they just come back and stayed till the cool weather started, and they had to go back home. They stayed in school started down where the homecoming was, so we could put the children back in school.
Well, what about the families who worked on the helper?
They worked on the helper.
Yeah. The men who worked in the yard office.
Yeah.
With the helper engine.
Yeah.
That was situated in Saluda. Tell me about those families. Do you know anything about that?
Well, the only thing I know, they just stayed.
Did those families stay for very long at a time?
Yeah, while they had the employment there, they stayed there as well.
I mean, they weren't there for like 2 years and then moved on.
Yeah, yeah.
They stayed for longer than that. Do you remember any of the families that used to work on them?
No, I'm not acquainted with them. I just see them when I met them.
Well, that's
I
interesting.
never was acquainted with them.
Who were most of the people that your family associated with? Was there a division between the railroad families? Was there sort of a division between the railroad families and the regular residents?
No.
I'm just curious, you wouldn't have known.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I was down through that. I forgot the most of it.
Oh, you're doing just fine. It's been very interesting. Oh, I love to come back. This is really an excuse just to come down. Now let's just kill that subject for a little bit. When did you first start working on the railroad? How old were you?
First work I done was I guess it was in 1896.
And you were replacing the tires.
And I've been working regularly ever since that time.
While you were growing up, the streets didn't change in Saluda at all?
No.
Pretty much stayed
Ain't
the
about
same.
the same.
What did they do about the creek that ran down the middle of the city during those years? What did they do about that?
Well, you just learned all I knew.
How did they get, the stores were on one side of the creek and the street was on the other side of the creek, wasn't it? How did you get back and forth?
Well, I guess they had bridges across there.
You don't remember exactly? You just never know. Do they have sidewalks?
And what?
Sidewalks?
No, there was no sidewalk. You had to go in the middle of the street. Wasn't no traffic, there was nobody. Now you got to watch your step. Wasn't in the cars, you know. You know, when I first moved here, there was a bit of pavement in town.
In
Wasn't
Hendersonville?
the street paved. I see wagons just right up to the hood on down Main Street when I first moved.
In Hendersonville?
Yeah.
And just kind of sunk. Hi, Ms. Moody. How are you? Uh, did the streets in Saluda ever get muddy like that?
Oh, yeah. Yes, sure did.
Just wheels would sink in the mud.
Yeah,
Did you ever see wagons get stuck in that kind of thing?
yeah.
How do they get the wagons out when they got stuck?
Well, I've seen them where they put two teams and pull it out, and mud come down. And they put an extra team in front with a chain, and they drag him out.
Do you remember the newspaper that was published there when you were growing up?
There was no paper published there then.
I'm sure, pretty sure there was a paper called the Saluda Mascot. You don't remember that?
No paper while I lived there.
Maybe I'm mistaken. It's just something someone had told me once and I didn't know about.
No, I never knew it was in the paper then.
Let me see. Do you remember any the Saludy family? The Saludys?
Yeah, they was serious.
Right.
Yeah.
When did they have their shop? Their store?
I don't know after I left
No,
there.
that was after.
I don't know.
Uh,
They live here in town now, part of them Saluda. I think they're all dead before them.
that must be the door.
Somebody murdered them now. Down about Inman, I think.
So you don't remember Saluda as being particularly wide open while you were growing up?
No.
It's pretty common. But you do remember the end. Do you remember the railroad? I mean, do that. Did the railroad pass by your father's place?
Yeah, in fact, about as far as Nick Road down there.
Was that close?
Yeah.
Did he build the house there after the railroad?
Yeah. It was built in 1884. I mean 94. Yeah. It got put out in the chimney, rock chimney. The date it was built. 1894.
You think is it still there?
Okay.
Is the house still there? Do you think?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know any houses. Yes, I have one. Is it the one up on the hill?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know that now.
Up on the hill, up just across from there. There used to be a mill down on the creek down there. But they had to have a corn mill there.
Tell me what the corn mill looked like.
How was that?
What did the corn mill look like?
Oh, did you never see one?
No, I haven't.
There's a great big round rock, There's two rocks, one on the bottom and one on top. It's kind of, I forget what the color up there. And this road, so you grind the corn, put them pretty close together. I used to grind corn there. I ground 40, 50 bushels a day. Used to grind corn for these government distilleries.
Still?
Yeah.
Did y'all have a mule or something you attached to them? I mean, how did you turn the rock?
It was turned by, I had a big overshot wheel run with a belt. Belted on the pulley, and you turn the water on, goes down the race, fills them buckets on the overshot wheel, and it makes the wheel turn.
Oh.
And that pulley on the belt, it just keeps it stays put, but the stopping does the making of corn, makes the meal.
So the meal would come down and shoot and go between the two rocks?
Yeah.
And one would be turning,
Yeah.
and the other would be down there, and so it would
Right.
crush the corn.
That's right.
And then how would it get into the bag? Did it just go down another chute into the...
I have a big
Sack?
box, and I have a paddle, and then, what you call a paddle where you put a sack full of meal, shove it up and just pour it in there, you know. The sacks, fill them up.
With a paddle?
Yeah.
You would just get in there with the paddle?
Yeah.
Okay. Where'd you get your sacks? Did they all reuse the sacks? Or?
Yeah, they always use corn food.
So you would just get their sacks and fill their sacks back up?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I see. It's conservation.
Yeah.
Right thinking for today. Let's see. Do you remember any particularly interesting things about the town that aren't there anymore? Or anything interesting about the town that is still there?
No.
You don't remember anything in particular? Except the bowling alley
Yeah. I was interested in that. That's where I made my little money.
And where'd you go to school? Did you go to school
The
in Saluda?
Macedonia.
Hmm?
The Macedonia school. It's about a mile and a half from where I live. And then I went to Saluda Seminary. With one or two terms there. That's pretty close to that old log house used to be over there, you know. You talk about.
And the Macedonia school. Where was that on the Macedonia Road?
Yeah,
About over toward the Howard Gap
yeah,
Road?
that's right.
And what did it look like?
It's just a little boxed up building. It wasn't more than 50, 75 went to school there. Just 3 months in the year. That was a free school.
It was a preschool.
Yeah.
And who went there? Just the children of the area? What months was it open?
And that,
What months was it open?
this was about, well, it's in warm weather. School, by May, they closed up about October, something like that.
From May to October?
Yeah.
It was open during the summer?
And that,
It was open during the summer?
yeah, most of it was, yeah. About 3 or 4 months.
And about how long did you go to school in those days? I mean, how long was the class? I mean, how long was the school day? Did you go there at 7 in the morning and work till 5, or you remember? Was it dawn to sunset, or?
I mean, how long the school held?
Yes.
Well, it held about, see, it opened up about 9 and closed at 4 or 5 o'clock afternoon.
Was it opened at
About
9
2.
and closed at 4 or 5?
Yeah, about like it is now.
Mm-hmm. And what did y'all learn there?
Nothing much. Maintenance more than anything else.
Maintenance.
And we'd have a ball game of a recess, you know, dinner time. From there, open up, have dinner for an hour recess. And as soon as we eat, then we get out and have a game of ball. And I'd have a fight every day.
You would?
Yeah, me and the other boy fight every day at church. Sometimes he beat me up, sometimes I beat him.
What kind of ball games y'all play? Baseball? Was it baseball?
Yeah, baseball.
So you learned how to be mean in school.
Mm-hmm.
Was the school a one-room schoolhouse?
Yeah, just a woman.
And everybody was in the same room.
Yeah.
You had one teacher?
Yeah, one teacher.
You remember her name?
Well, I went through several times. Let's see, I used to have a public cable, two cables to teach it, and I had a member named Clark. And Satan, and two Satan teachers. There's two Kegels and two Satan.
Kegel?
Yeah,
K-A-G-L-E?
Kegels.
Mm-hmm. And were they very hard on you?
Not so bad. It's different how mean we were.
I mean, were they very strict?
Yeah, we were some.
Oh, how did they discipline you back then? I mean, what would they do?
Was that?
Well, how would they discipline you? I mean, would they hit you with switches or what? I'm curious.
They put the whip to you.
They put a whip to you?
Whip to you.
What kind of whip did they have?
That was a piece of brush, hit through the whip. And I had to cut my legs up.
Really? And what kind of things did you do wrong to
Tighten.
fight?
Yeah.
Every day?
Sometimes they'd punish by making us bring a mattock and dig up a stump or something like that. That reaches
So sometimes they made you do physical labor.
Yeah.
So,
I could go back through the day and show you a place where I dug up against the dust. Yeah. For fighting.
How did they manage to keep all the students separated?
Well, they just told them what to do, you know. Made them do it.
And what did y'all basically learn other than names?
And they're learning more meanings than anything else.
Mr. Pace, I mean, did y'all learn basic reading and writing and spelling, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Did y'all ever learn any history?
That's it.
I mean, did y'all learn the 3 R's, or did y'all also learn history?
Well, we studied reading and spelling, arithmetic, about 3 books of them we studied.
Mm-hmm. What else did you do as a boy for amusement? What did you do for fun?
Farming,
No, fun.
and then you
What did you do for fun while you were growing up?
farm,
Mm-hmm.
well, rabbit hunt, squirrel hunting and stuff like that.
What did you rabbit hunt for?
I used to have a dog, run rabbits, and then I'd shoot them, you know, they roam around. I remember one time I was out this side of home there, rabbit hunting, and every time the dog would get after a rabbit, he'd run under the culvert on the railroad track and get away. So there's a broom sages up all over the place around there. I got right down at the mouth of the culvert. The dog ran rabbit out. I see the broom sage moving, and just as that rabbit got next to me, I jumped at him, and he hit a little salmon bush and broke his neck. I went and picked him up. No shot in the dog. Just scared him. He jumped and hit that little broke his neck.
And what else did you do? Did you ever play ball other than at recess? Did y'all get together for some ball games?
Well, not except in school.
Just at school?
School game.
What did you do after school?
Went home with Daddy put us to work doing something.
Oh, what kind of, is your great grandson? Is your grandson? Is this your grandson?
No, that's Mr. Hendersonville up here.
Well, at least he brought you some coal.
Yeah, he comes and brings the coal. Lives up the road the other way.
The, well, what kind of things did you do around your farm growing up? What were your chores?
Well, we raised corn and had a garden, had raised potatoes. This is up some eatable, you know.
Did y'all have pigs and things of that sort?
And what?
Have any pigs? What did y'all eat?
Oh, we had potatoes and corn, beans, anything in the way of eating, we raised it. Daddy raised hogs, raised own meat.
Did you
Yeah.
mostly eat pork?
Yeah, we had plenty to eat. But there wasn't no money in the second. You couldn't hardly get a hold of a dollar.
Why is that for you, Peter?
You just wouldn't get.
No silver around.
Yeah.
When you say your family raised its own meat, did y'all have cows too?
Oh yeah.
How did you preserve the meat?
Well, we had the smokehouse. We shoveled it down to 6 rows, and hang it up in the smokehouse.
Was it very salty?
No, but it hang it up, it's all drippy, it wasn't so big.
It wasn't salty at all?
Yeah, just enough to keep it.
Were you the one who was telling me your mother used to save the salt and drift off?
Oh yeah.
Tell me about that again.
Well, all the salt they got, they had all different sauce. And